What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Bluffton Tech Dynasty here on EA College Football 25. We've had ourselves a pretty good non-conference as we were able to dominate against both Marshall and Iowa State, but now we get into the most important part of our season, is our conference play. We are still searching for our first conference title in this series, and we're looking to see if we can get it done, or at least get it started, by starting with this home game against the Ohio Bobcats, as Ohio comes in at a solid 2-0 record, so they've been doing okay to start their season out, but on paper, we should have a distinct advantage. We are currently sitting as an 86 overall with an 85 offense and a 87 defense, while Ohio is in the 70s across the board. So we should have the talent on paper to not only win this game, but to be a legitimate player in the MAC this upcoming season. But we just gotta come out there and play together on the field. And as you may know, Ohio is certainly a very good football team themselves. So, with that being said, we can't take these guys for granted, but I'm looking forward to jump into our very first home game of the season within conference play, as well as our conference opener. And I hope you guys are as well. If you are, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. And with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, boys, so we'll go ahead and get things rolling here, starting by taking a look at this Ohio offense, as they're going to start with a run to the outside to get all the blocks taken care of, and it's a big run to get this party started. Spencer Kimball, the transfer out of Coastal Carolina, able to eventually bring him down, but that was still quite a significant gain. And then Ohio on a 3rd and short is also able to pick up the first down there as well. So Ohio off to a solid start here in their first drive of the game, as they are showing plenty of balance between passing the football and also running the ball as well, as Wilson Jr. already has 5 carries on this drive alone and able to make the most of those opportunities. 5 carries for 33 yards, but they're going to throw it to the left-hand side, and what a dot! I mean, I can't even be upset. That was an amazing throw and catch there. It had to be thrown in the right spot, and Hunt Jr. had to maintain the concentration the entire time, because y'all saw it out there, guys. That coverage was extraordinarily tight, but Ricky Hunt Jr. able to get her done. And we're going to be down 7-0 early here, as Bluffton Tech will finally take the field. And even the jet passes ain't working too terribly well, as Brady Sestilli is going to be brought down in the back, bring him down the backfield. So now facing a 2nd and long, but let's not get cute here. Let's just go ahead and just do a little bit of old-fashioned run up the gut, as Will Peoples is going to have a ton of running space there. But will it be for the entire game? I don't know. We will face 3rd and long, though, as we're going to try to pick up the first down. We're going to get it out to Jason Cutler, and Jason Cutler does make a good effort there. However, he was found to be short of the sticks, so we had to punt the football away. Thankfully, what we will end up seeing is that we do, at the very least, go ahead and get a 3 and out, as we nearly threw an interception there. Is now 3rd and 8 coming up, as we'll throw over the middle of the field. That was a dot to Jason Cutler. However, I don't think this first down is going to count, as it ends up being overturned thanks to a holding call on Eric Poning. So now it's 3rd and 18, a rough spot to be in. Grunkmeyer dropping back, steps up and throws the right-hand side and finds Javon Moore. Not only for the first down, but we'll also get the first points on the board for your Fighting Muskrats. Bluffton Tech is going to be able to tie things up, and we got ourselves a ball game after all. So let's see if our squad can rise up to expectations as we finally tied things up here against Ohio. We got bit pretty good on the play action as Malik Moon was in that one-on-one coverage, played it well, but I mean, those deep comeback routes in man coverage, those are extremely hard to defend. So here we are, 1st and 10, and firing over to the left-hand side as R.W. Cobb is going to be able to make the tackle there. But with that being said, it still counts for a completion. As now 2nd and 1 as Ohio looks like they might be in an I-power formation, and they're going to choose to throw out of it, just trying to get a bunch of short routes going at once. And able to find a soft spot in their zone coverage as it's another 1st down for the Ohio Bobcats. Meanwhile, Ohio finds itself in Bluffton Tech territory as we try to avoid giving up our 2nd touchdown of the quarter, as their quarterback will drop back, looks over to the right-hand side, and Nicholas Deloach, the transfer out of Missouri, was able to break that pass up as the senior does end up preventing the completion. We'll see if we can do that some more here on 2nd and 10 as they'll look over the middle of the field, fires, and it's caught for a huge 1st down. It fell out of the zone of Shamir Dodson, who was supposed to patrol that center field, but probably should have went with him in all hindsight. As now 1st and 10 coming up as we're now seeing Ohio in the red zone once again. All day to throw is going to finally fire over the middle, and it's somehow caught, but thankfully there's a penalty. Let's see what the penalty is for. They're going to call holding on their offensive line, so that should give our defense plenty of breathing room, as now it's 3rd and 17, looking over the right-hand side, and it ends up being deflected at the line of scrimmage. And from there, Ohio was able to settle for the field goal. But last time out, we found some success with Will Peoples before we gain that huge touchdown toss. We'll see if we can find some of that here as we try to run it again with Will Peoples. But definitely a good chunk of holding calls being had by both sides. That's Ben Conrad, who is a superstar on our team, probably a future NFL player. He ends up coming out and getting the holding penalty. Thankfully, no harm, no foul. Those we do find CJ Peaks up the seam. So now we'll see if we can get things rolling here as I go ahead and make some adjustments at the line of scrimmage, as we notice that they are certainly in the dime. And I do want to try to get upfield as fast as possible. Will Peoples is going to cut it upfield, and that's exactly why I wanted to make sure that we had as simple of a running play as possible. And even this look right here, this was the kind of look that I was looking for originally. Just not trying to, do too much here. Just simply trying to take advantage of the numbers in the box, and we certainly did that there. JD Weeks is going to go ahead and pick up the 1st down, as that will bring an end to the 1st quarter of action. It's been a pretty exciting 1st quarter that we've seen in our first MAC game, as Jacob Winters has led the Ohio Bobcats to a 10-7 lead so far. But it is your Fighting Muskrats that have the ball to start the 2nd quarter as we throw a dot over the middle. A dangerous throw for Grunkmeyer, but is building his trust with Jacob Cutler, as Cutler is able to come away with the catch anyways. So now, right outside the red zone, as Grunkmeyer makes some adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Grunkmeyer getting ready to go ahead and hand it off to Will Peoples. And Peoples is going to nearly pick up the 1st down on the ground, as Will Peoples had a solid run there, able to get 7 carries for 40 yards. But now Peoples is looking to build upon that, as Peoples makes a man miss before Ross Moses lights him up like a Christmas tree. And now we're well inside the 10-yard line, as Grunkmeyer getting ready to go for a goal line situation, but he's going to keep it, and not only does he keep it for a loss, he is also going to put it on the ground, and it becomes a foot race. Thankfully, Jacob Cutler is able to bring him down from behind, but man, you want to talk about a missed opportunity there. That was a missed opportunity. We could have been able to at least tie this game up. And now we are in serious danger of being down by double digits, depending on what happens on the upcoming drive, as Corey Kendricks, the sophomore, is able to go ahead and pick it up. So now our defense has its work cut out for it, right? Because we start out inside our own 30-yard line as, oh my goodness, Porter Lindstrade, the former Gore Pirate. Oh my goodness, he was in the right spot, just hesitated just a split second. If he wouldn't have done that, that would have been a huge play. That could have been picked off. But alas, though, it is still the Ohio Bobcats that have the football, and it's going to be 3rd and inches. Be surprised if they don't decide to run it here, and they do. They will run the ball up the middle, and it will work pretty well as the Bobcats now essentially have a goal line opportunity. It's 3rd and 6, though, so we hold them to a couple of short gains as their quarterback, Jacob White, drops back, fires over the middle, and their tight end is going to force his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Bobcats. And Ohio is going to get another one up on the scoreboard as Segura is going to give Ohio that convincing lead that we are extremely scared about, man. You hate to see it. So here we are down 17-7. Not really how I wanted this game to go at all, but with that being said, we're certainly not freaking out by any means. And one silver lining that I've seen in this game so far is that Will Peoples, when he gets an opportunity to run, has been running it extremely effectively. So we're going to have to continue to maybe lean on Will Peoples as we try to get something more consistent going on offense. And just frankly, to keep Ohio's offensive unit on the sideline. But it doesn't help when you're in a 3rd and long. But we'll throw over the middle. How about this throw to CJ Peaks? I mean, you want to do it with some confidence. That's certainly a confidence throw right there. As Grunkmeyer looking to go and scramble out of the pocket as Grunkmeyer is down the sideline, and he gets caught inside the 15-yard line. A little bit of a push after getting out of bounds, though. But of course, they don't like giving us those roughing penalties. However, we don't need it, though, as Will Peoples, wide but naked open. He's practically untouched from 15 yards out, and the Fighting Muskrats get on the board once again, and they will just cut it into just a 3-point game now. Now, after we get a 3 and out from our defensive unit, what we will end up doing is we have a chance to go ahead and take the lead, and we're going to try it with the big man, Chris Gentry, who had that 97 speed, and they were pressing him. When you do that, boys and girls, you certainly do that at your own risk. And look what they end up doing anyways. We got a touchdown on the board, and that's going to be your first lead today for your Fighting Muskrats. As now with 3:21 left to play, it's now the Ohio Bobcats that are on the back foot. But let's see if this offense can continue to produce. They've had a very productive first half. And now, 2nd and short coming up as Jacob White is going to line up in the pistol as they'll hand it off up the middle. And while our defense does do a better job of, getting some penetration, it still wasn't enough to make sure that we stop them from getting the first down. So, brand new set of downs for the Bobcats as they'll go play action here on this 1st and 10. And oh my goodness, if only he stepped up a little bit more, that could have been turned over. Still a pretty good play to get the deflection. But it's 2nd and 10 instead of going the other way. Very next play, White dropping back and looking to the left-hand side as R.W. Cobb is there to lock him up in coverage, as Shamir Dodson was also in the area as well. So it will force a 3rd and 10 as White is going to drop back, facing significant pressure, throws out of it. But the pressure from the Coastal Carolina transfer is going to be too much to handle. And so with 2:08 left to play in the first half, we have a chance to really come out here and trying to get some more points before we get into halftime. But with only a 4-point lead, a little bit of extra cushion would be pretty nice to see. As last play before the 2-minute timeout, we will run the ball with Will Peoples up the middle. And he gets another very good run there, able to move the sticks for the first down. And we're in Ohio territory right there, but trying to draw deeper, knowing that we have Maverick Bentley open on the sideline. So, with that being said, we're probably a first down away from realistically being in field goal range. And while I have more confidence in Tommy White than what I originally had at the start of the series, on a 3rd and 12, that being said, that's going to be a tough one to do. Here we go with Grunkmeyer trying to drop back. He wanted to go either to Chris Gentry or to Javon White, but has to eat the sack. And so we'll just go ahead and do a little bit of chew clock here. We'll go ahead and send Ryan Hope out for the punt. But it hits the Ohio defender, and it's recovered by Sue Render. Just making a hustle play. Right place in the right time. And Bluffton Tech is going to take over. Oh my goodness, is this a major momentum shifter in the making? So let's see if our boys can make something happen here as Grunkmeyer opens the drive up in the red zone. 1st and 10, looking over to right hand side, but never saw the second defender. It's intercepted, and now just trying to get him down desperately. Thankfully brought down by looks like Jacob Cutler and Chris Gentry. They combined on the tackle. And so just a wild sequence there to end the first half of action. Ohio will not move the ball much further, and they'll settle for a field goal. So very entertaining first half here as the Ohio Bobcats find themselves only down by a single point. So this second half, whoever wins the second half is going to end up winning the game. So here we go, boys. Second half officially underway from the Tech Center as Ohio is going to go ahead and get things started here. Throw into the left-hand side as that somehow ends up being completed in the direction of Spencer Kimball. Or actually, I think that was Wyatt Gideon on the coverage, who also happens to be one of the transfers from Coastal Carolina. Got multiple former shot to clears on the team, but with that being said, while we're getting that cleared up, we had a sack from one of the guys that was in the program last year, DJ Dean, and we're able to force a stop defensively. However, my thing is I want to try to build a little bit of comfort here in this second half. We'll see if we can do that here as we wanted it to get it out to Naz Willia. Wanted to try to sneak it into the corner, but couldn't quite work out that way. So now it's going to be 3rd and 7 coming up as Grunkmeyer is making some adjustments at the line. Looks over to the left-hand side. He's got a man open, and Grunkmeyer is going to connect with Chris Gentry. Seeing the one-on-one coverage as Ohio sent the blitz. But our offensive line held out more than long enough to get him the time that he needed. And you see the elite speed that Chris Gentry just happens to have, man. And it leads to yet another touchdown. So there's that breathing room that we were looking for as we do end up having an 8-point lead. But this game is far from over, and this Ohio Bobcats team, you know, 2-0. They have not lost a single game yet this season. They are not going to give up without a fight. That's for sure, man. And we are not going to stop making mistakes, apparently, because DJ Dean gets caught with the roughing the passer. So not only do we get awarded the completion anyways, but they also get tacked on an additional 15 yards after that. So right away, we see Ohio in Bluffton Tech territory as we try to hold it down. 3rd and 9. Looking over to right hand side, but the pressure is able to get home. That's Spencer Kishball applying the pressure that we were looking for, man. As that is going to lead to Ohio possibly thinking about a field goal, but because of the sack, they ended up punting the ball away. That saves us 3 points right there, which could be huge points later on down the line, depending on what shakes out in the rest of this ball game. But we'll go ahead and try to pick things up here as we do end up with a holding penalty, but a 1st and 20 though, as Grunkmeyer didn't like what he saw downfield, wanted to dump it off And look at this, the corner, the senior corner, able to get a beeline to the ball. I mean, what do you even do here? You know, you feel like you make a good decision just trying to check it down, but then Creed Hill just makes you pay for it in the most unexpected way possible. And so with that being said, we do at least get a free and out once they did end up taking control. But at the same time, Ohio does also get a field goal up on the scoreboard. So here we are now only with a 5-point lead, and we need a critical first down, which we will end up getting from the senior wide receiver, Chris Gentry, who was able to win on the slant. I mean, Chris Gentry, man, certainly a slant god for sure. And a huge fan of him going deep as well. As in hindsight, I probably could have launched it deep if I really wanted to, but I didn't expect like one-on-one coverage. Thankfully, Grunkmeyer is still going to make a solid decision here. Maybe not the best decision, but it was a solid decision nonetheless. As again, we are going to see one-on-one coverage on the outside, and we'll see what Grunkmeyer ends up doing. Play action, looking around, it's just going to dump it off to Maverick Bentley, who they were playing really light on. Might have assumed that he was like a blocker or something. But that's going to bring an end to the third quarter. It's been a really exciting game here in MACtion. We're up by a few points, but Grunkmeyer certainly stepping up for the challenge, that's for sure. So here we are in the fourth quarter of action as we'll pick things up in the Tech Center as we want to go deep downfield once again, trying to target Chris Gentry, but DJ Walker this time was more than prepared for it, as now it leads to a 3rd and 6 as Grunkmeyer stepping up to throw in the middle of the field, and Maverick Bentley gets in the way. We had an open receiver there, but unfortunately Maverick Bentley never saw it coming, and he couldn't react to it in time. So kind of in an awkward spot on the field, to be honest with you. So we're going to go ahead and go for it here, 4th and 6, and just hoping for the best here as 4th down. We're going to throw it to the right-hand side. It's up in the air, and oh, what a dot! What a dot to Javon Moore, but don't let this be what I think it is. Oh my goodness, it's a holding penalty, bro. So that's going to take 6 points off of the board, and with it being 4th and 16, we will decide to punt the ball away. That is so tragic. And now Ohio will take over with an opportunity to come out here and get points on the board, the type of points that would give a team a lead late in the fourth quarter of action. So we'll see what Ohio does here on this drive. Big drive for both football teams here as Jacob White will drop back. Look over to the left-hand side and actually had him open there, but doesn't get a lot of help from his tight end. He just simply drops that one. And so instead of a potential first down, it's going to be a 3rd and 8 instead, where White's going to try to step him in the pocket. Doesn't like the picture at all. Has to punt it away, and hoping for that defense to step up, which, to be fair to Ohio, their defense actually has been playing solid thus far, but Grunkmeyer certainly also trying to make him work here as Will Peoples is able to get open, as the underneath guy. He actually will record his first catch of the day. It's been a little bit since we've seen Will Peoples actually catch a pass, but he can certainly, he's certainly a dangerous playmaker every time he touches the ball, and that's certainly evident there as well. As 3rd and short coming up, we have a chance to pick up the first down on the ground, and there's Will Peoples once again making some things shake as Will Peoples now gets across the 35-yard line looking for that finishing blow. 1st and 10 coming up as we might consider a play action shot as Grunkmeyer does sell to play action, looks, fires over the, wanted to fire over the middle. He saw his receiver a little too late. Austin Mitchell was able to get home, and he stops a possible touchdown there. Grunkmeyer just didn't see him in time. So because Grunkmeyer did not see him in time, it now brings us to a point where it was 2nd and long, but thanks to Will Peoples, continuing to have those great runs, we will at least make it 3rd and manageable. At this point in the game, I really trust our run game. Will Peoples has over 150 yards, so we'll try and pick up the first down, and sure enough, while we don't actually get it, we were extremely close actually. So 4th and 1 coming up. We'll decide what we want to do here, and when in doubt, just continue to trust that running game, baby. I mean, the running game has been solid. It will continue to be solid for us. We pick up the first down on the ground. So that's 4 new downs that we can work with. A possible backbreaker for the Ohio Bobcats. As we now close in on about 5 minutes left to play, as we'll run it up the middle for J.D. Weeks, who Weeks is able to get some decent yardage there. But once again, we will be held back by yet another holding penalty. And the holding penalty is going to bring us back tremendously. Now, a couple of plays later, we have a 2nd and 18. And just trying to get something out of this throw. So we'll go quickly to Chris Gentry. Probably should have been a little bit more patient in hindsight, as Chris Gentry could have cleared things out on the right-hand side of the field, but maybe Brunkmeyer felt pressure. I'm not sure, but what I will know is that Will Peoples is going to actually take a loss here from Stephen Beebe, and so with 4 minutes left to play, we get to a big moment in time here as we'll trot out the field goal unit. As Tommy White is going to go ahead, he's going to attempt a 46-yard field goal. This is to give Bluffton Tech an 8-point lead in the last minutes of the game, but he shanks it! He shanks it to the left. The kick is no good. And so Ohio has a chance to set up a game-winning drive. 3:29 left to play, and this could very well be the play of the game as they throw to the right-hand side to start the new drive out. And Ricky Hunt Jr. able to make a good catch, his 6th catch of the ball game. As now the Ohio Bobcats are now 55 yards away from taking the lead here in the Tech Center. Can this crowd, and dare I say it, the weather, can one of those two factors help us get one more defiant stand? 2nd and 10 now coming up as White lines up in the shotgun, drops back, looks around, doesn't see anyone open, is going to try to force one downfield, and it's incomplete. Had multiple players in the area, and it looks like Nicholas DeLoach and company was able to get the job done that time around. So that is going to make it 3rd and 10 here, as now they're going to try to make a big throw downfield, but Malik Moon beats him. He is able to bait him into making a throw, and now here comes Moon down the sideline. He does manage to get caught from behind, but it sets up Bluffton Tech in Ohio territory. And we have a chance to either run the clock, get a score up on the board. If we do either of those things, I have a really good feeling that this game is officially going to be barbecue chicken. So with that being said, let's see what we can do with the Malik Moon interception, as right away, I love the look that I'm getting. It could be one-on-one on the outside with the superstar wide receiver, Chris Gentry. We try it, and we get it. Touchdown, Bluffton Tech. And Chris Gentry is going to find the end zone once again. And boys, I don't know what the fat lady is singing, but I'll tell you this though. That fat lady is starting to warm up her vocals. She's getting ready for the opera. So, less than 3 minutes left to play, and Ohio still has the ball in their hands, so they're certainly not completely done yet, but with that being said, they're at a point as well where field goals are certainly not going to help them, and as long as we keep everything in front of us, we should be perfectly okay, as Jacob White has time in the pocket, but it's going to run out of it, as we saw the tackle from Spencer Kishball, forcing Ohio to go into the no huddle, and you see that clock in the bottom of your screen, guys. Tick, 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 tick. And they did all of that just to throw it in completion. It was going to be a short completion anyways. It would have continued to ran the clock. Ironically, the incompletion might have helped them more than hurted them, right? So, 3rd and 24 coming up. And we get another flag out onto the field. Oh, don't let this be what I think it's going to be. They're calling it on Shamir Dotson. I accidentally run into him and they call it illegal contact. So we're going to call it an automatic first down because of that, bro. And so with that being said, Ohio now has an automatic first down right after we had them on a 3rd and 24, but thankfully the pass rush is definitely starting to get home for us here. As now 2nd and 17, White has time to throw, clean pocket, is going to throw it short, and oh my goodness, how does he get out of all that? I have no idea. But with that being said though, Caden Hurst just might have made the play of the game for the Ohio Bobcats, as that should have been rallied up, but instead it's going to be it's going to be a red zone opportunity here for this Ohio squad. But they have to start using their timeouts, which becomes important here, especially if they find the end zone. But a sack there is going to force Ohio to take their 2nd timeout. 3rd and goal from the 14-yard line. Can our boys get home once again? White looks to the left-hand side, but is going to be tracked down quickly by Wyatt Gideon, the transfer out of Coastal Carolina. It leads to a 4th and goal from the 12-yard line. White needing a big play. Can he make it happen? And his receiver slipped. His receiver is going to slip on the ground. And that is going to do it here. We got tested by this Ohio Bobcat squad that gave us absolutely everything that we can handle. But with that being said, boys, we were able to find a way to eke one out. And we're able to get the win in this one. So you want to talk about having a balanced offense today? We definitely had that happen, even though that we were chilling in the rain today, as we had both over 200 yards rushing as well as over 200 yards passing as well. And it ended up being a very successful day for us. In spite of the fact that we turned the ball over 3 times, it was a more difficult day at the office for Ethan Grunkmeyer. Now, with that being said, I still thought that Ethan Grunkmeyer had a solid game today in spite of the lack of efficiency. He did have a 50% completion percentage, but still found a way to throw for nearly 350 yards and 4 touchdown passes, although he did throw multiple picks and lost a fumble. Now, with that being said, my player of the game has to be Will Peoples, even though the game disagreed. Will Peoples was unstoppable on the ground today. He had 26 carries for 170 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He also had a couple of catches, as Ethan Grunkmeyer and JD Weeks were both able to make contributions on the ground as well. For the receiving game though, Chris Gentry did lead the team in receiving yards with 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. Javon Moore had multiple catches for 88 yards and a score, and then beyond that, it was kind of a, did a good job spreading the ball around. Jason Cutler, our freshman redshirt, had 3 catches for 38 yards. CJ Peaks had a few catches. Maverick Bentley was able to get a couple of first downs for us, and then we also got a catch for Will Peoples and Vincenzo's Naz Lilia as well. Now, this wasn't a day in which we felt like we made too many big time plays, except a little bit more towards the end. Now, with that being said, shout out to DeMervin Holland in leading the team in tackles today. He had 12 total tackles. And then the transfer that we brought in from Avon Lake, Ohio, he had 9 total tackles in the ball game. But no one made a bigger impact than Spencer Kishball. Spencer Kishball came out here and was lighting it up today, getting after this quarterback. He had 3 sacks in the game, with DJ Dean as well as John Decker IV having total sacks, and then Wyatt Gideon and Jaleel Freeman getting together and getting a sack as well. We did force 1 turnover. That was Malik Moon. Malik Moon was able to get an interception and return it back for 39 yards. We did have a fumble recovery from Sue Render as well, but it wasn't taken care of on the stat sheet. We do receive some pretty exciting news that Spencer Kishball does end up being your MAC Defensive Player of the Week. Those 6 total tackles for 4 TFLs and 3 sacks definitely making a difference in our conference. And then that was also good enough to be National Defensive Player of the Week as well, so winning it in the conference level and at that national level as well. Meanwhile, Chris Gentry, who was actually named the player of the game in our matchup against Ohio, he does win the Offensive Player of the Week, but it was not good enough to be your National Player of the Week on the offensive side of the ball. Which now takes us into week number 5. We're in week number 5. We will travel for the very first time in MACtion. We will take on 1-4 Northern Illinois in the next episode, where we will try to continue our winning ways. It's been a fun season so far, as Bluffton Tech has, for the most part, been rolling here in year number 4, and now we look to continue that here in the next episode. Appreciate y'all coming through and enjoying the Season 4 opener in MAC Conference play, as we will come out and try to keep it rolling, as next episode we'll play on Northern Illinois. But if you enjoyed this one, I need you to do a couple of things for me. Hit that like button, and then if you love the vibes here in the Bluffton Tech series, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well, as this is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.